Today's video review is brought to you by my friend Jonathan, who was kind enough to send me this Redbox rental copy of The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. 2022 Lionsgate Films. This movie has got a 107-minute runtime, directed by Tom Gormican, and it's kind of like, I don't want to say it's a parody film, but there's like a fictionalized portrayal of Nicolas Cage. It's a movie about Nicolas Cage, played by Nicolas Cage, where Nicolas Cage is playing himself. Co-starring Pedro Pascal, who is all the rage right now. I guess he's in a lot of other stuff, which I can't name anything off the top of my head, because I don't always keep up with the current what-have-yous of the entertainment world. So this movie cost $30 million to make, and it takes place in Spain, but I looked it up and it was filmed in Croatia. $29 million box office totals last year, so it did not make its money back, but maybe it did in other ways. I don't know. I just did a brief Google search. You can too. We're low budget here, okay? I'm trying to fill up at least 7 minutes of time talking about this movie. Did I say thanks to my friend Jonathan? Once again, thank you. And he sent me another movie today that I'm going to have to add to the list of reviews. So let's just jump right into my thoughts on this film. It's a B movie, for sure. It is not the best Nicolas Cage movie. I am 3 out of 5 on this movie. I think it's better than 2 out of 5. Google users were giving it 68%, which is on the lower end, nearing the 2s for me, but I think it's better than that. Rotten Tomatoes 87%, and IMDb 7 out of 10. So basically, if you've seen this movie, you already know what it's about. Maybe you just want to hear my thoughts on it, because that's why you subscribe to this channel, but he is kind of at a turning point in his career where Nicolas Cage is in debt. He agrees to do some show up at this Pedro Pascal character's birthday, who turns out to be some Spanish kingpin of the crime family, but it's all, who knows if that's what he really is. The CIA gets involved, and then it goes from like Nicolas Cage being paid to make a personal appearance, which actors sometimes do, to like the CIA is recruiting him to get information. So that's pretty much the movie. And then like they also kind of bring in this complicated relationship of him being very self-focused, and he doesn't have a good relationship with his daughter or his ex-wife, and the movie just kind of goes on from there. I found myself glancing down at my phone throughout this movie. It didn't capture my attention like yesterday's movie, Flashpoint. That movie was intense. This movie was just a very cliche action comedy movie, but I mean, it was entertaining. I didn't hate it, but it wasn't like my favorite movie. So, you know, there's comedy gags. Nicolas Cage, there's this one scene that you saw in the trailers where there's like some wax figure statue that the Pedro Pascal character has, and it's hideously ugly, and Nicolas Cage is like, I want it, I want to give you 20 grand for it, even though the guy said he only paid 6,000 for it. And the Pedro Pascal's, we had to switch to filming on the old iPad because my iPhone SE is on its last leg with the old memory, and I need to get a new phone desperately because my battery dies immediately. So anyway, I lost my train of thought. People are walking in the door. This review is probably one of the worst reviews I've ever done in my life, and that's saying something. So it was okay. Like I mentioned, it was just kind of like, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? You don't really know. The Pedro Pascal character, maybe, and it's like a bromance almost. So Nicolas Cage and him have this like great friendship, and then like there's like them trying to make a movie to revitalize his career. So it's like what you would say a fun film, like I said earlier. It was something that you probably would have seen in the dollar theater or rented at Blockbuster back in the day and watched it on a Friday night. But is it anything to write home about? No. And this is the equivalent of Blockbuster nowadays, apparently. What are we doing? We're getting text messages here interrupting my review. Let's see if this is important. No. Nothing of importance whatsoever. So we're filling up time here. I'm trying to think of more to add. Oh yeah, this is an interesting part of the movie. Nicolas Cage has this inner dialogue with himself in the past, where it's him as his character from the movie Valley Girls, which I own, but I have never watched, and I've heard it's an 80s classic. So like he has this inner dialogue of the younger version of himself, where the version of himself from the 80s is like building him up like, you're Nicolas Cage, you're a movie star, you're not an actor. You're a movie star. And that was a funny bit. So there was like parts of it that I enjoyed, and then other parts where it was just kind of like, okay, this whole genre has been played out. So that's kind of why I was 3 out of 5. But like I said earlier, better than a 2 out of 5. So that's a very short review. I don't have much more to add. Thank you, Jonathan, once again for sending it to me, and we will keep moving down the line of my opinions on movies that maybe you care about and maybe you don't. Until next time, we'll see you then.